Hey everyone, so I've received a lot of comments. My first video that I posted, this was a sort of prototype. There's a lot of things that I would probably refine and change over time, but I'm keeping this because it's been working great for me. So I'm gonna answer some questions that have come up. First question is, how do you wire the pump? Well, it's a 12 volt pump. It runs 3 amps at the max current. 4.5 liters per minute is what it flows at, but when you have a little more pressure, it's less. 6 gallons is 23 liters, so you do the math. The pressure says 110 PSI on this one, but I've never gotten up to 110 PSI. I'm probably more like 30 to 50 PSI maybe. I don't know. I have no way of measuring it. The next question I got is, how'd you mount the pump? You can mount the pump by screwing it directly into the container. Got to make sure it's all sealed, so you'd want to use like a safe drinking water or silicone of some sort. I don't know, that's not my expertise, but I epoxied a piece of plywood and kind of cut it out to the depression in the can, and that's worked out great for me. Some people have said, wow, it's pretty expensive. Yeah, I mean, most of them out there are pretty expensive, and I like the DIY stuff, so I spent a little more money on the shower head to get the on-off switch and to get the different modes. It's been good for me. I have no complaints. Another question I get is, why do you have the siphon hose going right into the top of the tank? Well, I use this in my van and I fill it with water, and I don't really want water to spill, so I like it to be really well sealed. I've seen some really good designs where people have the siphon hose at the bottom of the tank and they've drilled an additional hole and they have a spigot with a shutoff. That's pretty cool. I like that. Just not what I built in this one. I've spent a lot of money on the additional money on the waterproof box. I think it was a good investment. I don't want to damage the battery. Even though it was a cheap battery, you know, it's 12 volts, 3 amp discharge, you know, you got to make sure, you know, you don't want any sparks, you don't want to damage anything, you don't want anything to melt. So I made sure I got a pretty good waterproof box. The next question I get is, how'd you wire it? Well, it's important to look at the voltage first. This is 12 volts. And the max discharge current is 3 amps, which matches the pump. That's pretty important, because if it was only a 1 amp discharge on the battery, you would have very low pressure. And we don't want that. We want to get the most out of it. And the next step is you want to make sure that it has an short protection, over discharge protection, because it's a lithium-ion battery. You can learn more about lithium-ion batteries on other videos, but this is a Talon cell. It has a whole bunch of batteries inside. I pulled one apart. It's got a little battery management system. It's pretty nice. And this one is just a 12 volt, and you can see it's a positive polarity 12 volt, meaning that pin right in the center there is the positive, and on the side would be the negative. It has an on-off switch already, and these batteries, for a little more money, have a 5 volt charge as well, which is pretty nice because you can charge other devices. So the wiring, pretty straightforward. So positive, in this case, I have a red and green wire. Most of the time, if you're dealing with DC voltage, it's red and black. In this case, it's red and green. Red is your positive, green in this case is a negative. I put an inline fuse with a 3 amp fuse inside, just in case, even though the battery has battery protection, and then a cylindrical positive polarity connector. So in the center is the positive, and on the outside right here is the negative. You can get these, I think I have a link to Amazon in my other video, or maybe in the comments. And then this one is black and red, the color of the wire on the outside. So red to red, black to green. That's just about it, guys. If you have any other questions, let me know. I'm trying to answer them if I can. Anyways, cheers and happy backcountry showering.